Greetings everybody, thanks for tuning in. Today we are light loaded. We got about 6.5 tons of paper, and we must deliver it at, we must be in the warehouse at around 7 according to the instructions of the client. And today I'd like to mention a few negative things about the profession of the trucker, because you know I see a lot of nice and pretty videos out there about trucking life and how nice it is to go trucking, and everything is all well and fine, and that kind of passes the message that trucking life is very, you know, very nice. You just drive along, you just go for a road trip essentially, and you don't do much work. You don't have to do nothing. Well, I'd like to debunk some myths today about trucking life. Okay, one of which is this right here, night driving. Right? See, we have a client today. We need to deliver at 7 in the morning. So we've started, and we are away from the client, around 150 kilometers away from the client. So when the client asks you to be there at 7 a.m., well, you need to start early in the morning. So naturally, you'll be driving at night. And that is one of, that's a major disadvantage of the profession. It's not nice to drive at night, because during the night, well, the human body is programmed to be sleeping and not working and not driving, to say the least, right? Okay, if our body wants to sleep, it'll start shutting down the switches, you know, and that causes many problems. That causes what is called fatigue. So one myth about the trucking life is that when you drive, everything is well and nice. Well, when you drive at night, not everything is well and good. When you have to deliver at a certain time, you need to be there at a certain time. So naturally, you drive at night. Okay? So everyone, if anyone wants to become a trucker, they should have this. They should keep this in mind. They will need to drive at night, many hours at night. Sometimes, if the client is many hours away, you will need to drive many hours away during the night, right? Now, everything is well and good, as I said, when we are nice, when we're good, we don't feel sleepy. But well, if we start feeling sleepy and fatigued, well, we can't really operate, right? So we need to keep that in mind if we want to become truckers, right? Not to mention that we have to handle all this weight of the vehicle, the semi-trailer, the load. We need to be careful how to handle it on the road. And above that, you have the fatigue, you have the night driving, you have the sleepiness, all this good stuff that keeps you from performing at your best. Where's the road, man? I don't see a thing. Man. That's one disadvantage of night driving. And well, even if you do it in your passenger car, right? That's a major disadvantage of night driving, because you see just what your lights light up. During the day, you can see 100 kilometers away, right? You can see the road, you can see everything. Let me handle this downgrade a little bit. I don't like to accelerate in downgrades. Easy. I don't like to pass 80 kilometers an hour in downgrades. And as we can see from this dash cam, we've passed 80 Ks. Yeah, I don't like going fast in downgrades, even if I'm empty. So that's another disadvantage. You have a big weight to handle, so you need to be careful with that, right? You need to be careful how you handle this. Easy. Okay, now we're in the straight. So another disadvantage is that you have the responsibility of the load. You need to carry it in mint condition. You need to cause zero damage, because that means less money for you, and that means cost for the company, whether if you're an owner operator or if you're an employee of a company. You can damage the load, right? You are called to transfer the load. So, and you are called to transfer the load in one piece, right? So you need to be careful of that. And that passes that, and that gives me a great opportunity to pass to the second disadvantage of the profession, which is the semi-trailer, what I hold in the back. What I have in the back is essentially a mobile warehouse, right? The client stores the load, the items, in my mobile warehouse, and I have to deliver it. I have to move it from A to B in one piece, which makes me what? Guess what? Guess what that makes me? That makes me a warehouse owner. I'm a warehouse employee. And this means that I have to know every time, I have to know what I carry, right? Moreover, I need to keep track of what I carry in written form. I need to keep track of what I am carrying in the back. And that is, well, you can call it a disadvantage, yeah. You can call it a negative, but yeah, I say it's a challenge. I call it a challenge. You need to be able to have a record of what you're carrying and be precise and be responsible with what you're carrying. Okay? You can't just go right and left and go over the bumps without caring about your load, right? Because in the end of the day, it's not just the load that will be damaged, but it's also your tool, your work tool, the truck itself. You can't cause damage to the truck, right? A damaged truck means less money for you, less money for the company, and less money for you, right? So a trucker needs to be careful, needs to be responsible with what he has to work with the equipment and with the load they're carrying. So if you decide to become a trucker, keep this in mind. You need to be Why is this guy blinking us? You thought I had the headlights? Oh man, I have my dip bins. Come on. What? That was my dip bins. Right. So, next disadvantage. Another disadvantage I want to talk about is the long hours on the wheel. And that means many hours away from home if you have a wife and children, or even if you have parents and sisters and nephews and everything else. Many hours away from home and many hours driving at night, driving in the dark, right? So anyone who wants to become a trucker, they should know this. They can forget about keeping track of time, right? The old timers almost never had a watch on their wrist, right? Because, well, who needs a watch when you're driving all the time, right? The only occasion when you need a watch is when you want to deliver the load. When do you want it? You have asked the client, when do you want me to be there? He'll say 7 a.m. Oh, well, okay, right. So I'll start at 3, right? I'm 150 kilometers away. Well, I want to have a bit of margin for safety, right? So I'll start about 3 hours ahead, right? 4 hours ahead. Right now I started 4 hours ahead. I started at 3, right? I'm going, well, 70, 75, 80, right? And that's one disadvantage. That's a major disadvantage. That's what keeps many people away from the profession. The long hours. Now, not to say this in the negative sense, right? Many people have responsibilities. Many people cannot leave home for many hours, right? Other people may have health issues that do not allow them to leave home for many hours, right? So we need to have that in mind too, right? So not everybody is able to do this, right? It's quite a challenge. I say it's a challenge. But one negative of the profession is this, the long hours. And adding to that, we can add to that the long hours of wait in the ramp where you're unloading. Because, well, you're not alone in this world. There are other truckers out there, which means there are other truckers who want to unload in the same warehouse where you unload, right? And that also means that if there's no available ramp, you're gonna have to wait. So the waiting time is, well, is pretty significant. So keep that in mind, that you'll spend much time waiting. So let's pass this toll post. Too many toll posts in Greece, man. Too many toll posts. That leaves a negative image to the foreigners, right? Too many toll posts. Damn. You see, all the highways are private owned. All right. Good. All good. Thanks a lot. All right. Keep it straight. And we're fine. Now, modern equipment, modern trucks have many features that help the trucker perform his work better without getting tired. One of them is cruise control, which was very early invented. And it's a very, very beautiful feature. Helps a lot. It also helps you keep your foot over the brake pedal so that you have zero reaction time if everything happens. right? Well, that doesn't mean that you always keep your foot over the brake pedal. You move your foot away. That, well, but you get the meaning, right? So that one more disadvantage is the long hours away from home, the long hours of wait, and the long hours of night driving. I see it started getting lighter and lighter. So we're gonna see the sunrise? Nah, I don't think so. Let's get to 80. Yeah, we see a truck stop here in the right. And as the trucking profession became regulated, they want us to keep a timetable. We can drive for 4.5 hours. We then must have a 30-minute break, and then we can drive another 4.5 hours, and then we need to have 11 hours of break or pause or whatever you want to call it. So what can you achieve in these 9 hours of driving? Who knows? I don't know. I don't know if everybody keeps that record, keeps that schedule. Personally, I don't know. Right? Now, another disadvantage that the wannabe trucker needs to have in mind is the issue of toilet, my dear. See, if you're driving for a long time and you're sitting in the wheel for a long time, well, the human body has its own working rhythm, right? Which means that at some point it will want to go to the loo. It will want to operate, right? It will want to operate in number 1 and number 2. So that is something I never saw anybody describing and mentioning. So I see all these happy videos on the internet, on the YouTube, with truckers, driving, happy truckers doing happy driving in happy roads. I never saw anybody mentioning the fact that you need to go to the toilet every now and then. More like now, right? It's quite often. I mean, right now I'll be driving for around 3.5 hours. And I'll want to go to the toilet when I stop, right? So I never saw anybody mentioning that, right? So it's good to know the negatives and the positives of the profession. Yes, it is a beautiful profession. Yes, it helps you see different places, travel to different places, but it's not a road trip, right? And that gives me a nice pass to another disadvantage. The fact that you're not traveling for recreation, you're traveling for a purpose. As I said, you're a warehouse owner, you're a mobile warehouse, and you need to keep a timetable. So you're not traveling for recreation, but you're traveling to keep a timetable. The client mentions that they want you to be there at X time, right? In the morning, you need to be there at the correct time. You need to be precise. Well, at least as much as you can, right? Because, well, that leaves an image about how you work, right? How you perform your duties as a professional driver, as a trucker, right? So the client tells you what to do, essentially. They want you to be there at 7. You must be there at 7. You can start anytime you want, right? You just have to be there at 7 a.m. Right? So let's keep that in mind. Let's pass this tunnel with 60. No need to rush in tunnels. Alright. So when you start trucking, you'll see everything with a different perspective. Right now, I'm sitting around 3 meters high from the road. Right. Thanks a lot, lady. Right now, I'm sitting at 3 meters higher from the road. And that lane, which is very wide when you're driving with your passenger car, that lane is pretty tight if you're driving with a truck, right? The truck we have is a Volvo FH 12 460, and it's a nice, comfortable little ride with with pretty good features. And now we have a huge downgrade, which I don't want to go very fast. So let me slow down here in the summit, and let me kind of crawl down. Still going fast. No, I don't want to go fast. It's nice to keep practicing good practices when you're safe, because that is going to help you when you're going to be in trouble, right? To keep in mind, that's another disadvantage. You need to keep in mind that you'll be handling a huge volume of an empty weight of around 15 tons, a loaded weight like now of around 20-21 tons. You need to be able to handle it safely down the road without causing any damage to anyone else, to the load, to your truck, to the other users. So you need to be responsible. You need to be careful with your equipment and how you handle each downgrade. See, the upgrades are easy with a truck, but the downgrades is the hard part. And right now I see a little bit of wetness down the road. Well, that's interesting. So let's keep that at 40. Let's slow down here in the straight. Let's slow down here in the straight. Right, you don't see me talking a bit. You don't see me talk too much because I want to keep track of what I'm doing here. I don't know if you can hear this. That's a J brake. This truck has a J brake, doesn't have a retarder. So yeah, that helps. Okay. So from here on in, from that point, we have a series of turns and upgrades and downgrades, which are a bit challenging to tackle with a truck. So you won't see me talk that much. But yeah, all in all, that's about it with the disadvantages of the trucking life and the trucking profession. Yeah, I won't disagree. It's a beautiful profession. It keeps you on your toes. It keeps you motivated. You always need to be able to keep track of what you have and what you're carrying. It keeps you responsible, right? It has many positives. It's got many positives, but it also has many negatives. Come on, slow down, baby. Come on, come on, come on. Slow down, slow down. Slow down. I want 50. Come on. All right. All right. Right. Okay, now we slow down too much. Now we slow down too much. Yeah, that 80 kilometers an hour speed limit we see here, yeah, that's for passenger cars, not for trucks. In this kind of road, you see these turns? Yeah, you can't go 80 with a truck in these turns. Well, respect to those who do. I mean, I see truckers doing it, going 80 with a truck, maybe unloaded, maybe it's empty, right? And they're going 80 in these turns. Right. Did you see what happened here? We made a mistake, right? So, oh, that's too fast. Made a mistake there. We were a bit to the left. We were a bit to the left lane. And we needed to move to the right to let the car pass, right? So yeah, there's a lesson learned, everybody. Sometimes you lean to the left and you need to be able to give way to the other cars which are faster. Like this trucker, for instance, when we're going 60, he's going 80. How fast is he going? Respect to the guy. He's got green license plates. You know, I don't think he's Greek, right? But this doesn't matter. Respect to the guy for going 80 in these turns, right? Okay. Stay safe, buddy. Oh, that was a beautiful Volvo. Right. So all in all, a beautiful profession, but with quite a few disadvantages. So anyone who wants to become a trucker, they should know these disadvantages. Oh, right? Anyone who wants to become a trucker, they should know about these disadvantages. And they should know that they will be called to leave with these disadvantages, starting early in the morning when everybody else is sleeping, in order to be on time in the delivery position, in the delivery place. Having to perform without a toilet many times, that's an issue. Being able to they'll need to be able to handle all this weight in the back safely down the road, keeping everyone else and themselves safe, and keeping track of what they're carrying, keeping track of the load. All loads must have accompanying papers, okay, which describe the load in detail. They describe what you're carrying in detail, right? Many challenges, okay, some may call it negatives, some may call them negatives, but I like to call them challenges, because, well, in the end of the day, they help you, these challenges help you realize what you can or cannot do, right? Don't be surprised if you hear that people who started trucking in their 50s, right, having a different career up until then, right? There are people who want to see how far they can go. Okay? It's nice to challenge ourselves, right? I say it's nice to challenge ourselves. If we don't challenge ourselves, well, yeah, I mean, it's easy to sit back and relax. Yeah, okay, I can understand that. But sometimes, come on guys, we need to challenge ourselves. We need to do something. Get out from the couch and start doing things. I'm not telling you to become truckers, right? But it's nice to challenge. That's a general statement, right? It's nice to challenge ourselves. Okay? Alright. So, trucking life is beautiful, but it has negatives. As many people say, trucking is not a job, it's a passion. You do it because you like it, right? Somehow, if I stop driving, I have the sense that I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss going to the yard at 3 a.m. to get the truck and go deliver the load, right? I started trucking because I wanted to see how good or bad this whole life, this whole subculture is. Oh, it's struggling in the upgrade. Oh, pretty little Volvo, struggling in the upgrade. What has he done? It's struggling in the upgrade. Oh, right. So, let's wrap this up for today. The negatives of the profession are quite a few. I'm pretty sure if we sit down and think about it, we'll find a couple more negatives for the profession. But something tells me that this profession, this trucking life, has 90% negatives and 10% positives. However, the overall effect of this 90% negatives is just 5%, while the overall effect of the 10% positives is 95%, right? I mean, you look back after years of driving, of being a trucker and trucking, when you look back after all those years, you'll remember only the good times, right? You're not going to remember the times when you had to go to the toilet and you had to deliver the load and you had to go to the toilet and you needed to keep the schedule. right? Not to mention that you had to go to the toilet, right? That's what you're gonna remember. And when you stop doing this, you miss it, man. I don't know what it does to you, but you miss it. Okay? The first time you sit on the steering wheel, you sit on the driver's seat for one of these big machines, you either fall in love with it or you don't, right? It's like in the airplane. When I went to take my PPL license, my private pilot license, you either love it or not, right? That was the most boring thing ever, right? Flying a Cessna, man. I learned how to fly Cessna. I wasn't so hyped as I am with this right here, driving the truck, right? Now these are the first videos, so I'm doing it with the dash cam. That's why you see all this information in the screen. But I'm telling you, I wasn't so hyped and so excited when I took the pilot's license as I am with driving this Volvo, right? I don't know. It does something to you. So yeah, that's how I feel about trucking. 90% negatives, 95% negatives, 5% positives, and the effect of them is reversed. 95% effect of the positives, 95% positive effect of the positives, and only 5% negative effect of the negatives, right? So anyone who wants to become a trucker, they should know that they will have to deal with all these negatives. And they should know that they will learn to deal with them, okay? It shouldn't be something to drive them away from the profession, right? It is a hard job, okay? But people are capable of many things. Okay? We don't know our limits until we push ourselves to find them out. Right? So, to wrap this up, have a good day, everybody. If you're a trucker and you're seeing this, keep trucking, man. You're awesome. You're doing a great job. And see you in the next one.